My name is Philip B. Thomas, and I'm a World War II veteran. My father was a graduate of the University of Maine, majoring in agriculture, and he worked for the University of Maine for several years, so we moved around a lot. And in 1927, when I was 11 years old, we moved to Houlton, Maine. And I left Houlton when I graduated from Houlton High School in 1933. And in Houlton, we had a junior college, Ricker Junior College. And I went to the Ricker Junior College for 1 year. Then I went to Bowdoin College in Brunswick, Maine, as a sophomore, and graduated in 1937. From there, I went to medical school, and I applied to Boston University, and I was accepted, and went to Boston University Medical School. I suppose it was an honor to be accepted in the military. I didn't volunteer, and I don't know that I was drafted. I was married and had a child. I didn't appreciate being separated from my family. They went with me. When I went into the service, they were with me in New Hampshire. And I went in July 1942 and stayed in New Hampshire until December, when I went to Randolph Field in Dallas, Texas, to the School of Aviation Medicine. I was there for 3 months and was sent to Nashville, Tennessee, to a school to train to be a flight surgeon in the Air Force. I got finished there in June or July of 1942 and was sent then to Meridian, Mississippi as a flight surgeon in Mississippi, which had 3 squadrons. To remain a flight surgeon, you had to fly several hours a year. But I flew in a small plane, and I flew in cargo planes. One of the planes we had in the service in the United States was a Navy plane that had a seat behind in a compartment behind the pilot. And I had most of my flights, several flights were in that plane. We were on trial missions, not against the enemy, just flying. And I had some wild rides in those planes. And we had a plane in a cargo plane called a C-47, usually empty, except for the pilot flying it and myself. Our group was sent to New York to be prepared to go overseas. When we got to England, we were assigned to a field in southern England. We landed in Liverpool in northern England and stayed in Liverpool for a short time, and then were transferred to southern England. When from Wington, we went to France, Normandy, and we landed on the same beach that the invasion started. And we stayed in a field near where, not too far from where we landed. It was fairly close to the front line of battle. Our pilots flew missions. We lost several who became prisoners, and several we never saw again and don't know just what happened to them. We just took care of our enlisted men who had minor illnesses for the most part, which didn't require hospitalization, and were treated mildly working medicines. If they had anything serious, they were sent to a field hospital higher up. We had one pilot who was injured locally at an airfield south of Paris that we had moved to, while they were working with explosives. I don't know whether it was a German bomb or what it was. And he had a shattered leg, and it took him to an American hospital in Paris. But for the most part, it was mild injuries. And the pilots had just respiratory injuries for the most part, which required little medication. We stayed in France less than a year and were sent to Belgium, where we stayed until the war with Germany ended. And I was transferred to a bomb group in England that was going directly to Japan. And the head medical officer, I believe a lieutenant colonel, and he was getting ready to send in my application to be a major in the service, but the war ended. I was very glad the war ended. I didn't regret never becoming a major, so I retired as a captain. After the war, I had spent a lot of months with my grandfather and grandmother in Monson, Maine. And my wife had gone to Monson, Maine when I went overseas. My grandfather wasn't well, and I decided to start practice at Monson, which didn't have any medical doctors. I went to Portland for an interview, and they thought I should go to a little larger town, Dover Foxcroft. And I said, I don't think I can go to Dover Foxcroft. They got two medical doctors, a man and his wife, with a last name of Thomas. And I don't need three medical doctors in Dover with the name Thomas. So I stayed in Monson until 1949, when I saw an ad in the journal, the American Medical Association, where there was an opening for an anesthesiologist in Bangor, Maine. So I requested an interview and got accepted, but for a 2-year training in anesthesia. So I spent 2 years in Bangor training to be an anesthesiologist, and stayed there from 1949 until I retired in 1983. I believe that I have lived to my present age of 107 years. I attribute it mostly to my genetic history. I was most proud of being an American and doing a part of serving in the military member of the United States Army Air Force.